Let's talk about articulation on bass clarinet a little bit. Again, I don't think of articulation on the bass clarinet as technically any different than the clarinet. I'm accomplishing it in the same way, with the tip of the tongue as close to the tip of the reed as possible. Now, obviously the angle of the instrument, of the mouthpiece as presented to the embouchure, is slightly different than clarinet, and that's one of the things that many clarinet players have a little difficulty getting used to. It's therefore hard to play right at the tip of the reed because that mouthpiece isn't at sort of that angle like a clarinet, it's here. So I'm articulating a little bit lower, but still with the tip of the tongue, with a very short motion of the tongue, so that I'm not involving the back of the tongue, which would interfere with airflow. One of the major things you find when you're playing bass is you're playing in a register you haven't been used to. I mean, that goes without saying maybe, but in an orchestral setting, suddenly instead of playing with flutes and oboes, you're mainly playing with fourth horn, the cellos, the basses. And particularly when you're playing with the strings, I'm trying to foster an articulation that can sound very much like a pizzicato, so that I can get a bounce to it. Now, a pizzicato has something that's pretty hard for us as wind players to accomplish. It has a very clear beginning, but it rings. And that's what I'm after. Partly why it's possible in the bass is we're not hitting the absolute tip of the reed and pressing it to the rail where it is going to absolutely stop vibrating. We're hitting it a little lower, and you can play so that there is a ring to it. Obviously, if you need a short note, you're going to have to go shorter than that. But there's times when you're playing, as I say, with bass or cello, and you want that kind of clarity to the beginning, but resonance to the note. And that's what I'm after in many instances. Airflow, just like clarinet, we've got to have a good airflow supporting the sound so that the articulation can appear upon that airflow. Other than that, I don't think it's any different than playing the clarinet.